Hello, everyone out there. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I hope I'm meeting every one of you well and good, and I hope we're still staying strong for the NSAS, the ongoing protest in Nigeria and all over the world. With me in the studio, I've got Comrade Bello. He's in Nigeria, he's on ground, and he's observing everything, you know, as things unfold. He's going to be
Good
giving
evening.
us, a little bit details of what's happening in Nigeria. So, you know, I'm going to let him introduce himself. Can you
All right.
introduce
Good evening,
yourself,
ladies.
young
Good
man?
evening, ladies and gentlemen. I still remember my humble
Good
self,
evening.
Bello Peter, and it's nice to be in your studio again this evening.
You're welcome. Thank you. And if you're just joining us, or if you're going to join us later on and watch the show, this is Makamba Hangout TV, and we're here today to talk about the ongoing protests in Lagos, in Nigeria. Sorry, police brutality, the NSAS, the bad governance, and the hoodlums down the streets that taking over or hijacked the the streets
The
of
protest.
Nigeria. Yeah, the protests. So, Peter Bello, can you please tell us what has been today's outcome? Because we're aware that the Lagos State governor, Sanwo-Olu, the governor of Lagos State, Excellency Sanwo-Olu, has imposed the 24 hours curfew, you know, to the all Lagosians. So what's really happening?
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Just as I said earlier, I'm Bello Peter,
You,
and looking at the situation of ground here in Lagos State and Nigeria in particular, as regards to the protest, the NSAS protest. At the early hours of this morning, majority of the protesters were out in numbers as usual to express their grievances and still hamper on the demand for justice to those who were victims of the SARS brutality, and also ask for a reformation of the Nigeria police force, and also an end to the new SWAT that was created, and also an end to the bad governance. Now, these and many other things were the demands many of the protesters came out to also reiterate this morning. And all of a sudden, in the afternoon, we got a breaking news that the government has imposed a 24-hour curfew all of a sudden, which we don't know which angle it came from. We don't know who advised the governor to do so. Probably because that was what happened in Edo State. That was why he took that same decision. But quite frankly, the situation in Lagos is kind of different from what happened in Edo State. The only place we had a very serious act of violence was at a relay where a police station was burned down by some thugs and hoodlums. But this and many other violence that are occurring in the country is part of the reason why we are protesting today against the police brutality, reformation of the police force, and many other things like that, and an end to bad governance. You can see the majority of the hoodlums and thugs we have on the street who are constituting this nuisance as a result of the bad system, as a result of the bad governance, and if you know the police and the government are totally responsible for this violence because they have refused to provide security agency to ensure that the environment are safe and sound for the people, and also ensure that these protesters they are being well looked out for. You can see from the last protest that has been going on, majority of these protesters had been employing private security guards to guard and protect them in a country whereby we have our own forces. In a country whereby we have the armed force, we have the civil defense, we have the police force, we have the federal, so many of them like that. There's so many armed forces in this country, and there are none of them out on the street to protect these protesters. And that is the reason why many of these hoodlums and thugs are finding it so easy to hijack the whole process. And they giving the government more reason to employ more force to harass these peaceful protesters who are as well, expressing their own grievances from what they have experienced so far from the past government. So the truth of the matter is, there are so many peaceful protesters out there who the government are kind of like not really taken serious, and that is why they are allowing these hoodlums and thugs to take over the protest, and that is what was evident. That was what happened this afternoon in Lagos State, due to the irresponsibility of our government to actually ensure that the environment is safe. It is quite laughable that the only place being burnt down is a police station in the whole country. Other places are not being burnt down. So this is to tell you that there is a reason behind all this. There's a reason why people are these thugs, these hoodlums are burning down this police station, because there's something connected to their, there's a reason behind them, something motivating them to go ahead and burn down this police station. So these are the things the government need to start looking into, and they're looking for a way to restore peace and order to society, not by still deploring the members of the police force to go and ensure curfew, to go and oppress these protesters, when they have refused to deploy them at the first stage to protect these protesters throughout our protest since it started. There have been no policemen on ground to ensure that these protesters are safe. Even today, where I went to Ogba, there were no policemen on ground. Police stations were as empty as any other place you can talk of. These are part of the reason why there is so much violence in so many places in the country, and it's turning into a violent one, despite the fact that we still have a lot of protesters who are still peaceful.
Thank you. Mm. And you said you made mention that the Edo State's maybe because the Edo State's governor imposed a curfew on the people because of the incident. That's what motivated the governor of Lagos State to do same. And is it effective in Lagos? Is it also effective in Edo State? Are the
Well,
protestants indoors? Are they? What's really happening? How effective is it?
It's just some few hours away from 4 p.m. that the curfew began in Lagos State. So we can't really tell how effective the lockdown or the curfew is right now in Lagos State, because so many people are still on their way back from their business places. We still have so many of the protesters who were not ready to go back home, and so many reports we got from Alausa, Lekki, and other places show that many protesters are not willing or ready to go back home. They are ready to face whoever comes their way to challenge them peacefully and not violently. And of the Benin own situation, we learned that many of the businessmen or women, many of them stayed back home. As usual, it's a curfew that restrict movement, so many of them stayed back home. There was a bit restriction, a total restriction on every form of commercial business and every other business. But some of the protesters who are still very gallant, active, and not willing to back down, many of them still came out to still protest through different means. And the curfew wasn't totally effective in Edo State, because we still saw movement, we still saw people coming out to make their demands clear. Them they do not care whether or not there is curfew in their state. All they want is a reformation of the police force. All they want is an end to police brutality. All they want is an end to bad governance. So there are still many genuine demands these people are presenting before the government, which they do not care whether or not there is curfew. As long as these people are still pressing their demands, they have their own fundamental human right to do so, despite the fact that the constitution empowers the state government to impose curfew. But these people are also expressing their own fundamental human right. So as at now, the curfew is not as effective as it's supposed to be in both states.
Thank you very much. And the hoodlums on the streets, do you think they need orientation, or they just don't care, or the people, the powerful people, or the whoever is behind it's just not educating them on what is really happening, what they're gonna see, or they don't just care.
Okay, speaking on the issue of these hoodlums or thugs, you and I know very well that many of them have little or formal education. Many of them were not privileged to be formally educated, and so they are very really vulnerable and gullible to be easily used by all these politicians who they have always been at their peck and call. Most times they have always been answerable to all these politicians who have, actually been fond of buying them all these hard drinks and alcohol and all that. They settle them with little amounts of money, and they feel that is all that they need to do their biddings. So many of these hoodlums and thugs are still kind of like under the control of this politician who easily manipulates them due to their ignorance and all that. Many of them cannot even explain to you categorically or plainly why they are actually protesting. All they know that people are protesting and they see it as fun and they are part of it. So whoever gives them anything, they are willing to obey. Whoever gives them any tip, they are willing to follow. So few of them really understand what they are really fighting for, while majority of them do not understand because they have been so pushed to the corner that they are not properly educated to know what actually is happening. So these are the people who do not understand how to express their grievances. These are the people who do not understand how to go about a protest. These are people who do not understand that there is a difference between protesting peacefully and engaging in riots act. So many of them see protest as a means of engaging in riot. They feel riot being a riot and protest are all the same. All they feel is that they are angry at the police who probably must have maltreated them one way or the other before, and the best way to express that anger is by burning at the police station. While some are being controlled or being given or being told to do that. There are so many philosophies, so many theories, and so many speculations surrounding the reason why many of these hoodlums are constituting this violence. But the truth of the matter is, these people are the product of a failed government. These people are a product of a failed society. If the government had been responsible enough to ensure that these people are, well educated, they are well equipped with formal education. These people are, they are above this level of ignorance. Many of them wouldn't be easily used by these politicians, and they won't be having the issue of violence here and there. And if the government had also ensured that the environment is safe, we have enough policemen on ground, enough army on ground to ensure that these hoodlums do not carry out all these evil acts, we won't be having the same issue we're having here today, because these hoodlums will be curbed. To be, this would have been curbed easily, but they took out all these people and allowed the hoodlums become the police of the day. They took out the whole police and allowed all these thugs to become the chief security officer of the day. So what then do they expect? Since they took out the police from the street, they do not expect these thugs, these hoodlums, to behave themselves as usual. They have seen an open ground for them to misbehave, and that is why they are misbehaving the way they are. And many of them have taken too many things that controls them that controls them upstairs. So everything still falls on the government. The government need to be responsible. They need to act fast. They need to answer the demands of the youth, because what they are experiencing right now is this is the basic of a revolution. And if this is not curtailed, if this is not curbed in the knob in the board, then they should expect a full-blown revolution if they should use force on the protesters.
Thank you very much, Mr. Comrade Peter Bello. So, from the look of
Welcome.
things, so we'll say they are vulnerable, and that's why these bad leaders are taking advantage of them. In a
Exactly.
nutshell.
Exactly.
Because from my own point of view, I see this opportunity, the protest, as an opportunity for them to come out and also join the youth, and express their grievances. Do you understand? Rather than,
Exactly.
trying to mess everything up because of peanuts they're getting. Are they not thinking of their future, their generation to come, and all that? It's
Well, exactly.
heartbreaking. And
Exactly why I tell you that many of them lack formal education. Even when I engaged some of them when I went out to join the protest, many of them cannot actually, speak fluently and express themselves. All they know is just to repeat the same word everybody is saying, and they cannot tell you who actually is responsible for this. All they know that the government is responsible. That is the little idea, the little knowledge you have, and that is why I said the people to be blamed for all this are the government, because they have failed this generation. They have failed Nigerians. They have failed the nation, and they're about failing our future generation. Exactly why many of the youth who are well enlightened are out there on the streets, and that is why we have more of these people on the street who are part of the move, the protest, because they see their mates protesting and they feel they should be part of them. But few among them are still gullible, few among them are still allowing themselves to be used, and few among them do not know how to actually express themselves than to go violently, because they have that is how the police have been treating them even before now. Because the SARS, which we asked to be disbanded, had always used force on them, because the relationship between the police and the population, the populace, or the citizen hasn't been a very friendly one. That's always been a rough one whereby they use force on the people. So exactly why majority of these people are not also being friendly and also being nice. They're also using force, and you know how this kind of people express their anger. It's not always in a diplomatic way. It's in the jungle justice way, which they had always been used to, and that's why we are seeing all this happening in the country. So it's exactly what it's actually what the government has given to them. They are giving back to them.
Exactly what the government is giving to them is what they're giving back. Interesting. And there was a video that went viral some days ago, I think in Abuja, a man coming out to say he gave the protestants 48 hours to end the protest or else. Do we really know who that guy is? Who is it? Because I see him as a youth, that he should be part of the protestants, trying to. So I don't know. Who is he? I don't understand. Do you know who
Well, well,
he is?
well,
Can you tell us a
well.
little bit about that?
Well, I must say when I watched that news, when I was watching that news rather, I laughed, because I actually seen one of the godson of a godfather coming outside to
Mm.
uh make claim that he's representing the inhabitants of Abuja, that all these protesters should be, taken off the street in the next 48 hours, that the protest has been hijacked. Then I'm forced to ask a question, that what exactly does he really want? Because it seems like many of them who came out to protest against the protesters who were already protesting are actually members of the APC, and that is the ruling party. So it's so easy for them to come out and then fight for their parties, just to protect the name of their party and to protect their party which is in government. So it's actually a political move. I say it's a political move by that body of persons who came representing whoever they're representing, because they were not even they're not even up to I don't know the numbers they were, but they were not up to 50. They were just few among the total numbers of the inhabitants of Abuja. I don't know who they were speaking for, if they were speaking for the majority or they were speaking for the few, because the majority of people we have seen are people who are agitating for an end to bad governance, an end to police brutality, and not the few that we saw who were asking that the protesters should leave the street. And he did make a threat. He did post a threat that was going to engage this protester. We are waiting for him to come to the street to engage the protester, and he will get what he's looking for. I really want to see him come to the street to engage the protester. Then he will see what it means to engage people who are angry with a system that has deprived them of development. Then he will see what it means when he engages people. You will see what it means to fight against people who have been through police brutality. When he engages people, he will see people who have suffered from poverty. When he engages people, he will go back home with a lesson that we do not fight against the oppressed, because they are people who also fight violently. They are fighting for something greater than what he is fighting for, and definitely he's going to go back home either with one of his leg or one of his hand. Something must go missing, because when you challenge people who are angry, you don't go back the same. So my advice to him is that he should go back to the politician who sent him, or the body or the carcass or the thugs who also sent him outside there to come and challenge the people protesting, that he can't and he has failed, because that is not going to stop people from protesting in Abuja. The protest is going to go on. He's just making noise, and nothing will come out of whatever he said.
Having said that, after some hours where he came out to make that threat, some thugs came out in Abuja there, and cars were burnt. We saw it all over the social medias, and people were being attacked, and some of these hoodlums were caught. They were apprehended, and when they interrogated them, they said because they told them the Christians are the protest is all about the Christians, the Christians, they want to take over Nigeria, and that's why they should go out. And it's a kind of like a brainwash. They're not really telling them what is happening. So this orientation, they need a proper orientation. They need to be enlightened. So these guys they just take advantage of them, and just they don't care, because most of these people, they have children all over Europe, America, Canada studying. Most of them are graduates and all that. And those that don't even have, they're not allowing their kids come out. They go to these very expensive schools and all that. But they go to the street and just pick the hungry youths, that are not that don't have this background, they're not knowledgeable, they're not educated, and just put their lives, on the line. They don't care. So it's really sad. The Nigerian, we need that's what we need. The educational system needs to be put in place. It needs to be
Exactly.
put in place.
That's part of the 7/7 demands of the protesters, and actually the reason why they are also asking for educational reform is because of people like this who have been deprived of education and do not know what actually to stand for. Many of them, I pity them most time when I see them engaging in this violence, because they are still Nigerians we are fighting for. They are still part of the people we are fighting for. Even though they are attacking us today, we know that if they live on to see the better side of tomorrow, they would appreciate us for standing for them today. Many of them are still ignorant of what we are fighting for. Many of them still do not understand what we are fighting for. But if our dreams should come true tomorrow, they would appreciate and they will pray for every Nigerian that stood up and fight for a better Nigerian today. So we will pray that this protest brings about a better change, just as we are so hopeful. And at the end of the day, we'll have a better Nigeria whereby we will no longer have this set of youth being controlled by these greedy politicians who are just after their own stomach, who are just after their own self enrichment, and who do not give a damn about what happens to these masses. So these are the reason why we are still fighting. We are fighting against an unjust society, fighting against an unjust system that is deceiving the youth and making them see their own brothers as their own enemy. So we do not really blame those youth. We blame the people sending them, because they are just deceiving them, just as you said. And many of them are malinformed. They do not have access to they do not have access to information, and that is why they are being you know misused. They are being used to carry out all these violent acts. The problem is just the system. We blame the system for whatever we are experiencing in this country right now, and it's a protest that wants to bring about a big change. So many things are gonna happen. So many things like this are destined to happen. Even in a developed society where protests go on, we still see some hoodlums, some few people being on the side of the violence, and constitute mayhem, looting shops and all that. But the good thing about this NSAS protest is that we have not seen records of hoodlums, of thugs, of people looting people's shop. We have not seen records of people looting any business place. The only place they've been expressing their grievances are the police station, which has actually brutalized, just actually harassed their fundamental human rights. So the bigger picture is what everybody should be looking at: a reformation of the Nigerian police force and an end to bad governance, a restructure or a restructuring of the country, and the breakdown of the Senate allowance, the House rep allowance. So many things are just you know wrong. So many things are not just in the right order in this country. So many things we need to put in place, and so many things we are demanding for. It's just left for the government to take action and stop, making empty promises, which at the end of the day they might not fulfill.
Thank you very much. And you think with the curfew in Lagos State today that was imposed on the Lagosians today, do you think the governor did the right thing? Because we have some places where the protest is peaceful, everything is going on well, but and we have some places where hoodlums have taken over, they've hijacked the place. Don't you think the governor should have looked into those places that have been troubled, that have been hijacked, and probably imposed curfew on that area, or generally than imposing it on the whole of Lagos State? Don't you think that's the right thing for him to have done?
Well, the truth of the matter is, declaring a curfew all over Lagos State isn't the best decision as at now. It's not the best decision because looking at it critically and more in a broad way, you will see that majority of these protesters, since they started, have been very responsible, organized, and well oriented, and you see many of them doing their things peacefully all this while. And exactly why I said earlier on that we should blame the government for whatever is happening. For every violence that is occurring in the state now, we should blame the government because they have failed to provide enough security on ground to ensure that there's peace and order, despite that the fact that the protest has been ongoing for days now. They have removed all their policemen, their security force from the street. So declaring a curfew now and asking this police, all the security agents to fall out on the street to ensure no movement is actually unpolitical. It's actually unfair and unjust because one, it will bring a total clamp down on the economy. We had only restricted the economy in a little way, but now shutting down the country totally would it wouldn't help anybody at all because we have only blocked some parts of Lagos. There's only long traffic and all that, but people are still going about their business gradually. But putting curfew in place now means nobody's gonna go out at all. Everybody will be inside. Everywhere is grounded. Now there is more room for police brutality because when they meet you on the street now, they might harass you. They might you might have issue with them again, and this will raise another to breed another ground for more protests. People will become more angry again. These men are harassing us. So calling bringing in coffee at this point in time will make the people see the government once again as an enemy to their dream. Once again make them see the government as their enemy because they are going to see the government as not willing to allow them carry out their protest peacefully, and this will only get them more angry because many of the youth now, they are more angry that instead of supporting, instead of taking action on what you have presented before you are asking us to go back to our house. You are placing curfew, you are restricting our movement, you are seizing our fundamental human rights, and you didn't even give the protester enough time for them to go back home. You issued a curfew just this afternoon, not in the morning, and you were asking everybody to be in their house by 4. And those who went to work this morning, they were not aware that they're going to be curfew, and it is why they are coming back, or when they got to their place of work, they heard the information. Many are still not aware that there's curfew up to now. You see, there seems to be a problem with the government, the system of government we have in this country. It's not. This is a democratic society, not the one you wake up one day and make a decree just like the military dictatorship system of government. So asking everybody to go back home, declaring a curfew is a dictatorial act. That's dictatorial because you just woke up and make that decision just because there was violence at one place, as a prison was burned down. You just choose to shut down the full country. It's not as if there's violence all over the state. It's just one part of the country. What needed to be done was to send policemen or army or whoever they have, the armed force, down to that area to arrest the situation, to arrest whoever may be involved, and make sure these people are penalized for committing that offense. Not you shutting down the whole country and threatening every protester who have been out there for over days now. For over 10 days, these people have given up on every other thing they have just to ensure that the country become good for you and I, just to ensure that this country become good for every poor masses out there, to ensure that this country become good for every groundnut seller out there, to ensure that this country become good for every hawker out there who are unable to go to school but hawk just to survive. And now you are unleashing mayhem, you're unleashing terror, you're unleashing the armed forces to scare away these people when you know that what they are demanding for is their fundamental human right. This is gross abuse of the fundamental human rights of Nigerians. This is totally unfair. It's undemocratic, it's unpolitical, it is unwise. So it is actually out of place to actually declare a curfew all of a sudden, just because there was violence in just one part of the state, which is the fault of the government because they failed to. I think it is laughable that a police station is being burnt down. You have to say that the country is not safe. You have to say that the state is not safe. The government house is not safe. The men who are supposed to keep the society safe, they are burning down their own place here they stay. You see, it's laughable. That's to tell you that what kind of police do we have in this country? If they are burned at their own station, they can't protect their own ground. It's laughable. Even outside there, outside Nigeria, we see armed men, guiding protesters who were protesting. You
Yes,
see, so
yes,
how much more
yes.
we in our own country, how much more we protest in our own country, we can't get enough security. We have to get private security. It's power. This is so this that's what I'm saying. That is why many of the protesters are not willing to go back home. It's not as if they are enjoying where they are. It's not as if sleeping on the floor is the best thing they want to do. It's not as if eating outside there is what they really want to do. It's not as if carrying play card is really what they want to do. So the government to understand that those people out there, they are not really happy being there. There is no fun there. So playing music, they might think they are catching from playing music, but the truth of the matter is that is not what they really want. That is not where they really want to be. Everybody wants to go back home, but the government to do something that makes people go back home. And the fact that these people do not have leader is why this protest has been so the reason why many of them are still out there is because there is no leader for them to bribe or threaten. That is why you see this protest has been this long and it's posing a serious threat to the government. And that is why they are trying to use everything possible in their arsenal to ensure that they create violence and disperse these protesters away from the street. But it's quite impossible because these people are more determined than ever. This is a new generation, just as I used to say, this is the Sorosoke generation, the people who are willing to speak louder than ever, and they are not willing to back down at any point in time, not even if the armed forces are being deployed.
Thank you very much. From what you said, that means, from the onset, the government, they missed it. They missed it because what they would have done was to give these protestants protection that they needed. And if they had done that,
Exactly,
these hoodlums, the thugs, wouldn't have been able to, come and hijack the protest. Yes, thank you very
exactly.
much. Thank you. That's well said. And with the police station that was burnt at Orile, is there anything what transpired? What happened?
Well, as at now, I do not have enough information on what happened there, though it is quite pathetic and unjust. It is very wrong on the part of the hoodlums or whoever carried out that act. We and the protesters, we are not in support of whatever happened there. Neither are we in support of whatever happened in Benin because that is not how we want it to go. We do not support whatever those hoodlums are doing. That is not part of what we are doing. It has been a peaceful protest, and we remain on our stand that we are protesting peacefully. So whoever is going on to engage in violent act, destroying property, destroying police station, is on their own. They are not part of us, and we do not recognize them. That is not the reason why we are out here. So we are advising every member of the public who are constituting this mayhem, this violence, to desist from such acts. And if they are arrested, they are on their own. But whoever is part of us that is protesting peacefully and is being arrested, those are the people we are going to stand for, the people we are going to defend, the people we are going to fight for. So we are not trying to destroy our society or in the name of building it. We are trying to protect our society. We are trying to fight for a better society, and we can only achieve that peacefully and not violently. So we're not trying to overtake the government or destroy the government, but we are asking for a better governance. We're asking for an end to bad governance. We're asking for an end to the corruption, to the brutality that we experience on daily basis. You see, I've not been a victim of police brutality. Doesn't mean I may not be the victim of police brutality. That is why you see the popular question people explode: am I who next? Who is next? Nobody knows. I can't tell if I may be the next person tomorrow. So I can't wait till when I become a victim of this brutality before I need to speak up. That is why many people are out there, even though they are not yet victim, they are scared of being the next victim. And everybody have expressed their displeasure, they've expressed their demands, and they are saying the same thing over and over again. So it's left for the government to actually do something about what the people are asking for, and they will go back home. It's not as if we enjoy being on the street. We want to go back home, want to have a better society, a safe one, and the president needs to speak to the people. I don't know where they got that man from. I don't know where he's from. We don't know if he still exists. If he doesn't exist anymore, they
I
should
said this
inform the public.
is
Yeah, if it doesn't exist anymore, they should inform the public that we do not have a president, and let us run a runoff election for a new president, or the vice president take over. Let's know, okay, we have the VP is not the new president, because we are tired of this robotic president that only works when there's power supply. We are tired of this robotic president that only works when it's being connected to the charger. We are tired of this robotic president that only work when it's being told, that only talks when it's being told to talk. He's not a president of Nigeria. He is a
so sad.
president of his own room. He presides over his room and not over this country. And we are very soon making a move that is he should no longer be paid. Should not, very soon we'll no longer recognize him as president if he fail to address the nation. And I fear for his administration, because he might end up losing everything he has built over years. So he rather wake up and do something as a president of this country, or he might end up facing the worst side of this protest ever in history.
So this is not just about end SARS, but end bad governance.
Exactly. The total reformation of the government.
And we can only do this if we come together, because from the look of things, the way things are going, we're stronger together. Because when the police
That's
came,
the power of
the military
unity.
came, when the military came this afternoon at Alausa Ikeja, when the protestants saw them, they walked towards them, together. They were like, we're all going to die together, But when they got there, the military was so calm, and they were like, even telling them they're doing great. And the protesters were happy with, they started hailing, and they went in
That
the police van, and they were just chanting this, there was this joy all over
exactly.
them.
We
So
can,
I think
yes, yeah, we can actually cohabit. We can actually be on the street protesting together with the military, with the police, with the civil defense. We cannot. All they need to do is just stand their ground and ensure peace and order, not engaging the peaceful protesters. Everybody has a right to protest. It's a fundamental human right. It's a constitutional human right. So they shouldn't use force on the protesters, and that is what everybody has been saying. And what we need is police protection, and all these hoodlums will not gain ground in the protest. And you see, it all boils around whatever decision the government makes. They are the one making the wrong decision. They are the one deceiving the force, and not we. And we actually pray that things gets better at the end of the day.
okay, thank you very much, Comrade Peter Bello. We really appreciate your time with us in the studio, and we also appreciate your, being part of the youth, a patriotic citizen, you know, trying to make Nigeria a better place for every one of us.
Thank you
We
very
say
much.
thank you. May God bless the youth. They're doing so well. I
Amen.
myself, I'm really proud of them. We're trying in our own way to support them. Like I said to people, not everyone can go out there, but everyone can share whatever thing is happening, comment, and let the world see, go give food, water, they need things to keep going. Support them in your own little way. I want to say thank you very much for joining us this evening. So we'll
Thank you.
come your way
Welcome.
again. Take care and have a lovely evening.
All right. Thank you very much. God bless you, and say a big thank you for what you're doing so far. Thank you very
Thank
much, ma'am.
you.
All right.
Thank you. You're welcome. Take care. Have a
Okay.
lovely evening.
All right, ma'am.
Hello, everyone. It's me, your girl, Anne, and this is Makamba's Hangout TV. If you're just joining us, we had our special guest, Comrade Peter Bello. He's been on ground since the protest started. He's one of the youths, and he's been updating us, telling us things that have been going on, how they are, and you know just to let us know what is really happening out there. So all the youths, those of you that have not gone out, let's don't this issue of curfew or whatever. It's not gonna work. It's not going to work. What the governor needs to do is to send the is it the police or the military to wherever the locations where they're having um, hoodlums, where the thugs have hijacked the protest. That's all he needs to do. Send police there, and the Protestants also they need police protections, because if you see in the UK when we had ours, the police were there. In Canada yesterday, the police were even part of the Protestants, because they know what is happening. In Nigeria, you know, in France, in Germany, the same thing. They're getting protection. So why is it that we are not getting it? Why are we missing it? What they need to do is just to send the police to be there with these Protestants. We are not violent. Everything we do, at the end of the day, they make sure they tidy up the place. It's being cleaned, food being provided. People are bringing in food, water. People are bringing in hot meal for the Protestants. And God bless each and every one of you. So please, let's stay together. If we stick together, if we stick together, these people can't break us. They're trying all they can to break us, and we shouldn't give them that opportunity to break us. We don't want them to break us, because I myself, I'm tired. I'm tired of this, this, the problem in Nigeria. I'm tired of the so-called police brutality. I'm tired of the SARS. I'm tired of the bad governor and leaders we have. So this is the time for each and every one of us to come out. Mothers, fathers, the youths are doing it, and they're doing it very well. They're well organized. We can see that without no leader, they're all leaders. They're all in charge. So please, let our voice be heard. Let our voices be heard, please. And Buhari, I don't know. People say, because I'm beginning to think if it's not Buhari that is there, if it's the Jubril they're talking about, I don't know. I'm beginning to believe this Jubril thing, because how can a president, you've not even come out to address the nation, but when Donald Trump had COVID, you were you few minutes, you were out to tweet, but your country is on fire and you're nowhere to be found. You're just sending people to, we want you to come out and address us. Come talk to us. And Mrs. Aisha Buhari, if that is really your husband or something, you're a woman, use your power. You call your husband in, take him to the inner room. He said, that is where you belong. Take him to the inner room, to the other room, and talk to him like a wife. Women, we've got power, so much power. If you know how to use it, it's not juju or it's not voodoo. You just need to know how to use it. You use it on your husband. Tell him what to do. If the people behind him, because sometimes people around you can be can just be deceiving you just because of they want to get one or two things from you. They're not going to tell you the truth the way it is. They'll come and lie to you. But the wife, Aisha Buhari, you're somebody, one of the ladies that I admire, you know. Take your husband to the inner room, to the other room. Talk to him. Sit him down, talk to him, lie him down, speak to him. The language, use the woman language that he will understand. You've got the power. And the children also, speak to your dad. He's not going to help with the military out there. But they came out, they're doing well. But I just pray that it remains this way. So please, and Uncle Tinubu, Baba Ojuyobo, I didn't even come here for you. I came to, talk about the curfew and the Boo Boo, try to make sure Boo Boo gets it right. But you were hearing you're beginning to campaign for your son, Sheyi. You're calling him Sheyi Ojueko. Ojueko, Oju yẹn ló máa fọ́ dànù. You want your son now to, you're campaigning for him to be the next, preparing him to be the next governor of Lagos State. Lagos State, is it family business? You were governor, you went, your wife, senator, how many times? Are you the only ones there? Now you're campaigning, you're preparing, you're packaging your son. to be the next governor of Lagos State. Ojú Èkó. Ojú Èkó wọ ọjà àbọ̀ ojú Ògùn State. Yeah, rọra lọ sẹ́mi because since you see Tinubu I didn't even come out to me ọtí ẹ̀ jáde wá sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀ because why? Mo lọ nítorí ẹ̀ mo lọ sanwó mo lọ ṣe course. Eyín ẹ̀yẹ mo kọ́kọ́ fẹ́ fọ eyín ẹ̀yẹ kó tó wá bá a sọ̀rọ̀. Mo kọ́kọ́ fẹ́ fọ eyín ẹ̀yẹ kó mọ́ kó tó wá bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ because I don't know what you take. So you just rọra just leave a code for us. Let's do our things. You came out, you're saying the Protestants should go in. For what? What right do you have that they should stop? What right do you have? What have you done? Eh? During ìgbà Jákàndé, a rí gbogbo nǹkan tí Jákàndé ṣe go on. Àwọn arílé tán kọ́ Jákàndé estate, go on estate. Kí ló ṣe? You came and you took over the whole of Lagos State. Since the beginning of the protest, you can't come out. Ṣorí pé àwa bẹ anybody learn. You go yourself, are you not sad? You sat down in Borderland. The journalist that she just air her voice, her own opinion. Just phone call. Only can sack woman, yeah. Can sack journalist, yeah. She was sacked. You're in that your Borderland doing things, controlling the whole of Lagos State. Ìwọ gan ojú SARS lọ. Ó tún prepare ọmọ ẹ̀ ń sìn. Ṣèyí Ojú Èkó ló kó wá di governor Èkó. Ṣé rí pé àti ẹ̀bẹ̀ dé àti ẹ̀wà bá ń Borderland yẹn akọ̀ ṣe tiwa ni à ń ṣe tiwa ní strategic places wa. So ya dákẹ́ bó ṣe wà yẹn. Don't just say anything before we carry it to you in Borderland. No, it can't call it stop wa because if the police station can be burnt, ṣé Borderland ni wọn ò ní dáná sun ni? You see those guys on the street, you don't know, you just see them like that. Oh, nǹkan tán lè ṣe. You don't know what they can do. They can do a lot of damages, but they don't want to do it because we all love Nigeria. We want Nigeria to be a better place. So, Ojú Yọbọ mo fọ́ Ọlọ́run bá bẹ̀, please stay out of this. Tí má ti parí course tí mò ń ṣe because mo kọ́kọ́ fẹ́ fọ eyín ẹ̀yẹn mo fẹ́ fọ ọmọ náà kó tó lè bá a sọ̀rọ̀. Then you can now speak to us. But for now, just tẹ̀bà tí Borderland ẹ̀ tó wà. Kí ló dé? We want a Nigeria where a child of nobody can be somebody tomorrow. Our parents, they've been trying, it didn't work. So this is our time to decide pé enough is enough. Kò sómi. A dẹ̀ ń sọ water corporation. You people have water corporation. Locate owó. The taps are not running. We're spending money to do borehole. No electricity. No good roads. No good health. No health potential. Good health care. No health. No. Please, enough is enough. You people bringing out the military on the street to come and harass us. It will not help the issue. It's not going to help the issue. Rather, you're just going to escalate this thing. You're just going to escalate it. Just leave it. We've been doing it peacefully. You've not been giving us money. You've not been feeding us. You've not been bringing water or anything to us. We've been organizing it within ourselves and cleaning up, tidying up. If you were to be government now, you would have come out with how many billions? 30 that you spent so and so billion for food during this protest. Agbo Buhari is spending 1.9 or 2 billion to construct rail from Nigeria to Maradi. Abi Maraki long way. When we don't even have good roads. When we don't even have hospitals. Are you constructing those ones to give more room for all those Fulani henchmen to be able to come into Nigeria and kill us? It's not going to work. Ọlọ́run lè fún yín ṣe, Ọlọ́run ní fún yín ṣe. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ mo fọ́ Ọlọ́run bá bẹ̀ yín. Please just leave us as we are doing this. Bá ṣe ń ṣe protest wa yìí. Ẹ fi wálẹ̀. Those are jacking the protests. Go after them. At Lekki there, those that came to like they are the guys there, they caught those people, they took them to the police station, but they chased them away, they denied them, just like Jesus Christ, Jesus, John the Baptist, Judas denied Jesus. They didn't do anything. The ones they caught at Alausa, they took them to the police station. Up till now, nothing. Those guys have not been persecuted, they are there. Why won't we suspect the police, that the police and some of these bad leaders are the ones behind it? Because you don't want us to talk. You don't want us to end this wicked act, to end the brutality. In the north, you're brainwashing them that the Christians they want to take over Nigeria. Why are you so wicked? You're evil. We're tired, please. We're tired. We're begging. Let's end this. Enough is enough. Let's try and make Nigeria a better place for all. We've got all what it takes, and we've got everything. We can do it if we want to do it. Till I come your way again next time, it's your regular host, and I'll see you again next time. Sorry, I'm just trying to read someone's comment here. I'm just reading the comment here. Till I come your way again next time, it's your host, Anne Kwame. I'll see you next time. Stay safe. Try as much as you can. So let's all support, our protests, the protestants there on the protest ground. Sending your love, words of encouragement, sending water, food, support them in your own little way. Let the world see what is happening so that Nigeria can be a better place. I'll see you again next time. You take care. Have a lovely evening. Stay safe. Be good. Don't forget, COVID-19 is still available. So play safe. Take care. Bye.
Bravo! Bravo, mommy!